Welcome to 6 Minutes of Aviation Safety and Security. I'm Jeff Price. Let's see what's making news this week. Metropolitan State University of Denver's Ryan Bresnow, a 2005 graduate of the school's aviation program, and now a longtime pilot for Delta Airlines, hosted an alumni discussion over Zoom earlier this week to discuss the long-term effects of the pandemic on the aviation industry. The long and the short of it is, look, everything's going to be okay. But in the short term, we're going to go through some rough times. By that I mean, in the long term, our country and the rest of the world will eventually be flying again. But there's going to be some pain and suffering in the meantime. The pandemic is a black swan level event. Nobody plans for those. You really can't plan for them. Right now, all the airlines are in a hiring freeze. However, the airlines are still leasing aircraft and they still have new aircraft on order. From a hiring perspective, the news is hang in there. Be thinking 3 to 4 years out, not the immediate situation at hand, because in time, this too shall pass. When flight operations start back up, many pilots will have taken early retirement or will soon be forced to retire as they turn 65. Right now, most of the baby boomer generation is just about hit retirement. How things will turn out in the long run will depend on the economy, which we all know is not looking too good right now. Airlines need a good economy to make money. So goes the economy, so goes the airlines. If there's another surge in coronavirus deaths, as states begin lifting their quarantine orders, and possibly another surge this fall as cold and flu season starts back up, that will definitely slow down the long-term recovery. Tom Cruise is making news again, proposing to NASA to make its first movie in space. This is ground control to Major Tom. Now you know why I got thrown off American Idol. Hey, Tom, I'll tell you what, if you ever need a wingman on this film, give me a call. I'll fly with you. Now for our special report. It's called a mode shift. The long-term impacts of the pandemic on the airline industry may have little to do with the virus itself, but more to do with the technology we've become reliant upon since the beginning of the quarantine. I'm talking about the Zoom effect. Shortly after 9/11, I attended the very first Aviation Security Summit in the United States, where many of us discussed whether there'd be a mode shift, people going from flying to video conferencing. That didn't happen, mostly because the technology at the time was not very good. Everybody kind of looked like Max Headroom on a video conference. But now we've all been really forced to adopt Zoom for everything from conferences, teaching our kids, routine business calls, alternate ways to connect with clients, all while wearing a shirt, and literally you can wear nothing else. The Zoom effect's a legitimate concern, and aviation may look a little different a couple of years from now, but it's still going to be here. Many companies have found employees more productive working from home and utilizing Zoom. Capital One and Amazon are extending their stay-at-home policies into the fall of this year, and Google and Facebook told their staff they can stay home until 2021. There's always going to be a need to meet person to person, to conduct business. And of course, leisure passengers are really immune from the Zoom effect. However, about 50% of the passenger travel is for business, which is the reliable revenue stream that the airlines need. Today, business people can legitimately ask, do I need to fly or can I do this on a Zoom call? If just a few business passengers from a few companies do that a few times per year, that can add up to a tremendous amount of cost and a long-term impact to airline revenue streams. But this is a resilient industry. Plus, there are things you can't do over Zoom that you can do in person. More trust is developed when two people are face-to-face. You can read their tone of voice, their body language, their mannerisms, much better than you can over a webcam. Look, I believe no matter what the Zoom effect impacts, airlines are going to find alternate streams of revenue. They're very good at that, and they're going to find different uses for those airplanes. Look how fast so many of the passenger carriers switched to using cargo on a short term. We will continue to adapt to whatever new reality is on the horizon. Aviation's with us. It's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. Now it's time for the weekly weather outlook, and I've just received an update. Also making news last week is the tragic death of an individual at the Austin-Bergstrom International Airport. He was struck and killed by a Southwest Airlines flight landing in the evening when he was standing on the runway. Police are still investigating how the man got onto airport property. The pilots did take evasive action when they saw the man, but was apparently still struck by the left engine, declared dead on scene. How does this rate on our scale of security breaches? Well, first off, on the scale of tragedy, it's tragic. But from a security perspective, it really doesn't rate very high, not much of a risk. Most of our system is designed to protect the aircraft more than the airport property. The property is actually part of the protection of the aircraft. And there just haven't been enough security breaches really to warrant policy changes to reduce the risk to the traveling public. Hey, how many of you are like me and are on Mullet Watch? I like to call it Mullet Watch. This is my COVID-19 haircut, or lack thereof. I don't know about you, but my hair, as long as it used to be in high school, back in the early 80s. In fact, I'm pretty sure I'm one dog, one van, three weird friends, and a bag of weed from having my own Saturday morning cartoon show. And in our new segment, Harrison Ford Watch. In this segment, we keep you up to date on how long it's been since actor Harrison Ford has had an aviation incident. As of May 13th, 2020, it's been 19 days. Way to go, Harrison. We're all pulling for you. Plus, I need to get all the mileage I can out of paying the licensing fee to use this picture for a year. So you're going to see Tom Cruise and Harrison Ford a lot this year. This stuff's not cheap. Hey, that's it for this week's update. Join us again next week where we'll talk about the security risks that come along with a pandemic. Please subscribe and like, and if this isn't the news you like, go make some of your own. Maybe we'll report on it.